What would happen if no cotton was furnished for 3 years? England would topple headlong and carry the whole civilized world with her. No, you dare not make war on cotton. No power on earth dares make war upon it. Cotton is king. 75% of slaves worked in the cotton industry. Until the late 1790s, the demand for raw cotton exceeded supply. Cotton boomed the economy. However, cotton came into play at a very late stage. Colonists had many other cash crop plantations, but these plantations had many untold stories. The 5 main types of plantations besides cotton were indigo, tobacco, rice, sugar. Each had their own advantages and disadvantages. The size of the plantation varied. Some were small farms while others were massive plantations. Historian Ira Berlin says, sowing began in April and sometimes lasted into June, with slaves pressing the seeds into waterlogged muck with their heels. Slaves then flooded the fields to encourage germination. Once the seeds sprouted, the fields had to be hoed to suppress the weeds. For a large portion of the year, slaves labored knee-deep in stagnant muck, surrounded by the buzzing insects, under the scorching sun. Rice cultivation was dangerous work. Rice harvesting was hard work. There was a separate facility meant for slaves who had to process and grind the rice. It was said that the rice plantations were one of the worst plantations. Slaves lived in fear of snakes, alligators, and mosquitoes. Yellow fever and other mosquito-borne diseases were very common. However, the rice plantation greatly benefited the economy. Rice fields were like gold mines. They could make profits up to 26%. Spanish colonists first brought white gold, or sugar. Christopher Columbus is also believed to have brought sugar cane. Harvesting sugar was a delicate process. It required a large number of workers that were coordinated. Sugar cane first had to be made into a juice. The juice then had to be crystallized. Sugar was also made into rum, which is in high demand. Adult slaves were expected to plow, plant, and harvest 5 acres daily. Slaves had to handle hot liquids daily and were burned often. A typical sugar plantation was 750 acres wide. Indigo was a deep blue dye that was considered exotic. It was used for religious and recreational purposes. Indigo was Louisiana's top cash crop. By 1775, South Carolinian planters were exporting 1 million pounds of indigo, which is 30 million in modern currency. Eliza Lucas Pinckney was a famous agriculturalist who developed the indigo economy. However, the indigo empire collapsed in 1800 due to natural and financial crisis. From 50 to 60 hands worked in the indigo factory, and such is the effect of indigo upon the lungs of laborers that they never lived over 7 years. Indigo workers lived in disgusting environments. One theory is that the chemicals in the dye caused nerve damage and increased the risk of cancer. One slave could harvest up to $2,000 worth of indigo. The tobacco empire was only second to cotton. Like the Cotton Belt, there was a tobacco coast, which is Virginia, Maryland, and North Carolina. Virginia even used tobacco as a currency. By 1860, there were 348 tobacco factories in Virginia and North Carolina. From 2,300 pounds in 1616, tobacco rose to 100 million pounds in 1775. Surgeons claimed that tobacco had high medicinal value. The tobacco process was the longest. There were 36 separate steps. John Rolfe, the husband of Pocahontas, was the first to experiment with tobacco in colonial America. The tobacco plants had to be shifted from a barn to another constantly. Slaves had to work with the plants delicately. They had to hoe, weed, and cultivate tobacco. This was Henry Clay Bruce's typical day at work. They were called up by the overseer by means of a horn, ate breakfast, and were in the field by daylight, and kept at work till noon. When dinner was brought to us on large trays, and the order was given by the overseer to eat, we sat down right there. As soon as the last mouthful was swallowed, the order was given to go to work again. Even though the plantations were different, slaves basically had the same timing routine. While cotton is still top in America's agricultural industry, rice and sugar still play a role in the industry. Indigo is in less demand, and tobacco as well. The America today, however, would not be as successful without its previous slave plantations.